Hey guys, it's Jason. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about pitchers that have the absolute nastiest stuff, whether it be just one ridiculous pitch or an arsenal of pitches. And I'm going to name some names. You're probably familiar with a lot of them, but if you're not, I would encourage you to look them up either on Google or YouTube, and I guarantee you'll be impressed at some of these ridiculous pitches, whether it be slider from a lefty pitcher or a ridiculous curveball or knuckleball or slider or forkball, well, not really forkball, splitter, fastball, cutter, things like that. So I'm going to go over the list, my trusty list right here. Okay, number one, Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, if you haven't seen this guy's lefty curveball, it's a 12 to 6er. I mean, it's one of the most ridiculous curveballs you'll ever see. When it's on, it is on. He's unhittable when he's on. The righty version of him, Dwight Gooden, from the 80s and 90s from the New York Mets, he had a right from the righty side, a 12 to 6 curveball. It was absolutely filthy and unhittable. Okay, he's another pitcher who was beautiful to watch in the 80s when he was in his prime. Next one on the list, Zach Greinke. Actually, he's got a ridiculous slider and a ridiculous curveball. More so when he was a little bit younger, but he still had it solid now. But it was Dwight Gooden-esque when he was in his prime. Next up, R.A. Dickey, probably the best knuckleball you'll ever see. I mean, Tim Wakefield's got a ridiculous knuckleball too, but R.A. Dickey, it was for some reason it was slower than Tim Wakefield's, and Tim Wakefield also gave up the infamous home run to Aaron Boone to put the Yankees in the World Series in 2003. So thank you for that. But R.A. Dickey, the most ridiculous knuckleball you'll ever see. Next up on the list, the filthiest slider from a pitcher I've ever seen, Randy Johnson, 6'10" lefty. I don't know how you can hit it from coming up here and just coming this way. It's really impossible. You're kind of helpless against his slider, ridiculous slider. A pitcher from the A's, actually, his name's Chris Bassett, reliever. I think he's a reliever. Actually might be a starter. Another filthy curveball from the right hand side, filthy. Okay, encourage you to take a look at these guys. Okay, next one up, Trevor Bauer, formerly from the Indians, now the Reds. Another ridiculous off-speed pitches, ridiculous curveball and slider. Next up on the list, Chase Anderson is a reliever from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nasty slider and curveball. Next one up, Yorvis Medina, actually from the Seattle Mariners. One of the most ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous curveballs you'll ever see. Okay. And I like, as much as I appreciate watching 100+ mile an hour fastballs, these pitches that complement them they're just crazy. It looks like you're getting hit by a pitch. You can get all the way out of the way and it comes over the plate and it winds up being a strike, or one of those pitches that just makes your knees absolutely buckle. Okay. Next one up, Madison Bumgarner, actually. He's a kind of a less power pitcher version of Randy Johnson. So had a just ridiculous lefty slider. It's still very hard to hit, but it was pretty much impossible to hit when he was in his postseason glory. And he's still really young. One of the more nasty bullpen, tall lefty guys, Andrew Miller, formerly of the Indians, the Yankees. Who is he with now? I think he's. I actually don't remember who he's with now. Don't remember who he signed with. Should be ashamed of myself. But anyway, tall lefty. Nasty slider and curveball from a lefty on the lefty side. Chris Sale, unfortunately, is getting Tommy John surgery, but Mr. Ace from the Boston Red Sox, another just Randy Johnson-esque lefty coming slider. Tall, lanky lefty, coming from an upward angle, coming down. It's almost impossible to hit. Seth Lugo, underrated bullpen reliever from the New York Mets. Ridiculous off-speed pitches. Somebody see the problem with this, these guys can throw some nasty 80 82 mile an hour curveballs, which makes their fastballs look like they're 117 miles an hour. And that's one of the things that's so impressive about them. and the pinpoint accuracy at some of these guys are crazy. Okay? Next up, Dellin Betances, formerly of the Yankees, currently of the New York Mets. He's another guy who threw 100 plus miles an hour, 100, 101. I think he may have hit 102, but then he has this 75-mile-an-hour curveball. It just buckles you at your knees. When he's off, he's off, but when he's on, he's absolutely unhittable. And he's just a beauty to watch with his off-speed stuff. Adam Wainwright, former ace of the St. Louis Cardinals, another nasty off-speed pitches. With his, it's one of these guys with a great combination, a great arsenal of pitches. But his off-speed stuff is crazy, crazy good. Corey Knebel of the Milwaukee Brewers, on more than one occasion, on multiple occasions, he just makes guys' knees buckle with his off-speed pitches, his curveball, and it just make you you get that that close to 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he throws this curveball that just makes you buckle at your knees, or vice versa, throws this ridiculous curveball, and then he strikes you out with the fastball. Either way, nasty. Okay. Max Scherzer, obviously he's been a power pitcher. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but his off-speed stuff is just dirty, to go along with his nearly 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Stuff that just comes in and right at the end, it just dips right in. And he made Ichiro. I think he's the only pitcher that I've ever seen make Ichiro look like an absolute amateur at the plate with an off-speed pitch. Aroldis Chapman. He has underrated off-speed stuff to go with his 105-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's got a ridiculous slider. He's got a really, really good curveball that's been getting better over the years, and just with that combination, and it's hard to kind of, with a 105-mile-an-hour fastball, you're kind of at the mercy of that, and then you have this 75-mile-an-hour bucking curveball. It's just a nasty combination. And last but not least, at least in my opinion, Mr. Cliff Lee. Formerly of the Philadelphia Phillies and Cleveland Indians. He had a nasty 12-6 curveball. And a great slider too, and off-speed pitches, but that curveball was just dirty. And he had a run of several couple years when he was there with, it was Roy Halladay, or right before Roy Halladay. I remember making the Yankees look foolish in the 2009 World Series. I remember because I was at that game. And just ridiculous off-speed stuff. So, this is my list. If you have other guys on your list, let me know what you think. If you're a baseball fan, please click that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Greatly appreciate your support. And keep an eye out for my next video and my next batch of videos. You're not going to want to miss them. So be sure, if you haven't subscribed yet, to do that and hit that notification button because we got some good stuff coming.